Here, my name is Gabriele Sani. I've been working for Oxfam for almost 4 years. My current job title is Internet Collaboration Tools Manager, and we're going to take a look at the primary project I've been working on, which is our global internet. First of all, a little introduction of Oxfam, even if here in the UK is very well known. Not many people know that we are actually a confederation. So we are 17 independent organizations working together to fight the injustice of poverty. We work in more than 90 countries, including areas where it's very difficult to deploy and use any IT tool. And since we have such a big organization working in so many countries and with so many different organizations, we face some very big challenges. Like, for example, we need to collaborate between people with different languages, different systems, because the 17 different organizations, they all have a different backend, they all have different ways of working, different languages, and we have people working from home, people working from the office, people working with their own devices in the middle of Africa with no internet connection, and maybe they have a connection only every now and then when they go back to their offices, or sometimes when there is a humanitarian emergency, we have to send someone there to be quickly there, set up a system, and then from there, from a situation where the only internet connection is through a portable satellite system, they need to tell to the rest of the confederation what's going on, what we need, what can be provided, and it's an emergency, so it's never the same and it's never easy. And more importantly, from my perspective as manager of this global internet, it means that I have people coming on the system with no training and no time to do any training on that. So the system needs to be able to be usable by people with no training and no interest into reading a page on how to upload a document or how to manage their information effectively. And information needs to be provided in a way that the rest of the confederation can quickly access and understand. Which is not completely different from how other businesses work, because you will still have mobile people with that need access through their mobiles, which means that the internet connection will be not always there, or it will be not always fast, and so on, regardless of what your mobile provider will tell you. So we are working a different in a difficult world, and this is the internet this is the homepage of Sumus, which is our global internet, which was built 4 years ago using Drupal 6. It was a big decision to use a system like Drupal, because we moved away from a system that was very static, built on Plone, and built essentially as a document repository, but it was clunky. I mean, I wasn't there when the previous system was there, so they launched this system before I joined. But the experience on that system that has been reported was that it was extremely slow, it was very difficult to use, and so as a result, there were only a few people that could effectively upload and modify information inside the system. So we went for Drupal because we wanted something that could be far more engaging from the users and far more usable for them, and allow them to do collaboration instead of just, here is my document and I hope that someone will read them or do something about it. So Drupal gave us that social layer, that collaboration layer that we needed, but it was not exactly all that we needed, but we're going to see it later. So I started this project on Drupal, and we started working on it with my team to improve it, and we had some good results. This came out of understanding our user needs. So we started working with them on mapping exactly where the value for the organization was and how to unlock it for them. It was a new project in the way it was working, so there was a lot to do in that direction. And the way we did it is that, first of all, engage our users, and this was already a new way of working for us, since before it was, hi, I'm IT, I'm creating this system, use it. And surprisingly, not everybody was very keen on it. Well, the way we did it with Sumus was this shared ownership. So we provide the system, you can create your own areas in it. You are free to do whatever you want with it. We don't touch the content. You are the content owner. We just provide something that you can use, and then it's your responsibility to manage it. When people started feeling owning the system, they started coming back with a lot of requests. So the way we managed these requests was to divide them for what gives us the highest business value and what is costing us the least amount of resources for delivering those projects. So the classification of all projects is low, mid, high, low, mid, high, and so the prioritization always end up on we do what is high value, low resources, the rest will come later. And the end result is that we're essentially working only here because we keep on having new requests and we try to filter them, and as we grow and as we learn what we can do and what we cannot do with the system and so on, we find that maybe projects that were here, actually we're becoming smarter, we can actually do it here, or maybe a customer is really keen on having something useful only for their own department. If they give me the necessary resources to do it, then from here it becomes here because they take care of that side of the resources that makes it easy. And that means also that I can go back to all my different stakeholders and say, yes, your project has been written down, I know we're going to do it. This is how we do our classification. You're currently here, so you either give me more resources or it will wait until I finish all this. Or, oh no, wait, I should have been, if I don't see that much business value, you have to prove it to me that there is a better business value. So this is how we worked. And one thing appeared clearly that, Drupal, well, sorry, I started talking. We also built our own stakeholder management system so that we can talk to people at the right time in the right way using our Drupal system and so on. But I can skip on this. So what appeared clearly talking to multiple different people was that yes, our internet was great. It was enabling collaboration in a way that before it was not possible. But yes, our internet had some problems because the management of files was not exactly what was needed. And reviewing the way we were managing documents, yeah, I could totally agree with them that it was not good enough. Actually, I could see some issues that they were not aware of, but they were still there, and or some of the issues were simply for me. The costs of maintaining the system were way higher than what they should have been. So we started looking a bit more in details because this became seriously the main pain point for so many people. So this clearly became the biggest win we can possibly provide to our users. So we started mapping what Drupal can do and what Drupal cannot do. So the good is that, I mean, the interface is fantastic. If you have never worked with it, it allows you to be so flexible that you can easily change it even without any coding. It's very flexible. It has something like 20,000 modules provided by the community that you can have for free, and people have already developed, tested, and provided a business case behind using them. And there is this huge community so that you can find also information on how to use the things behind. The bad things is that it didn't do any type of versioning on files. So if I sent you a link of a document inside Drupal, and then I uploaded a new version of the file, the link will still take you to the old version. So the new version will end up sitting with a different URL, and so it becomes problematic because if you visit the page where the document is, you see one version. If you visit the link to the document, you see a different version. It's not helpful. It's a system where you have to manually upload one document at a time. So telling people, oh, can you migrate your content in Drupal is I mean, with an automatic system, migrating content with, while adding tags and so on, we built a little, essentially JavaScript interface to help doing this. it was taking something like 30 minutes to upload a folder of 60 documents or something like that, which means 30 seconds per page is not too bad if you're thinking about how much it takes to do it, but still not nearly good enough. If you have 1,000 documents, it's not going to work. And no records management system, but that's but that was less felt by the end users at the very least as a need. The ugly is that security on files was not much there, and I'm not going to explain in detail in how bad it was. And since access to these folders and files was only through the web interface of Drupal, it meant that if I need to download a 50 kilobyte Word document with the situational report of my emergency, I need to connect, browse, change pages, and download my file. So probably I'm downloading, I don't know, 0.5 megabyte of data across all my whole path for a 50 kilobyte document, and I'm paying my connection by the byte, and it's slow. So getting there may take me 5 minutes if I know where I'm going. It may take longer. So that was definitely not meeting our business model. And so we started looking, okay, how can we keep the good and get rid of what is not working for us? And then we started thinking, and this seriously changed my way of looking at technology. So it's a model built by Gartner, and it tells you that there are essentially, it's not everything is split neatly into these three types, but there are essentially 3 types of systems. So a system of records, like for example your Active Directory, it's a database of users with their contact details. This kind of stuff hasn't changed in the past 10, 20 years, and there will not be major changes in the next 10, 20. Then there are systems of differentiation, which could be like your HR system or so on, where you can see reasonable innovation every 5 years or something like that, which is useful. It's what defines how you operate. And then, so here there is a lot of value. And then there is a system of innovation, which is what goes in front of the users. And it's like, for example, how to collaborate, how to do file sharing, the user interface, and so on. And this is where things become very visible, while here are not very visible to the end user. A generic user in an organization will never see the Active Directory in its own beautiful raw form. They will always see the people directory inside the internet. So here there are more people, here there is more attention, and here is where things are changing very quickly, and here is where people do comparison with what they can do now. So I have a mobile, I can have my Dropbox, I can have my Trello, I can have whatever, it's all free, it's all working nicely, and then I go to my IT system inside my organization, and it doesn't work nearly as quickly as that, and nearly as beautifully as that, and so on. And that creates a tension between business and IT. So here is where people are going to interact and are going to like or not like your system, while in the way they work, so the way, for example, I request annual leave, or I fill a form, or I request budget and so on, is more sitting here. So if you start splitting the system into these 3 layers, you can see that each one of them has its own different characteristics, and each one of them should have a different governance, because you can select an Active Directory in 2 years, it's fine. You want to change things here very, very quickly, because that's where things happen very quickly. In this perspective, our system was doing a good job here. It was doing a terrible job here, because the document management, which is a key function, is not Drupal's role. We had our system for the user management, so that was fine, but there was clearly a gap here in our architecture. And so we started looking, okay, what can we do to fix it? Well, we started looking at different tools, and we painted a picture of where we wanted to go, and then we started building a business case for the biggest project we've ever done for this for our internet. Starting first of all from the end users. So we started doing some internal marketing, started telling people, okay, this is what you want to have, this is how it's going to work. And at the same time, we started proving the value of the internet by doing a lot of small changes in the user interface, so that we gained the trust and expectations from the end users on how we're going to do our job. And this is the part done in the system of innovation layer. At the same time, we started proving for the business what is the real value. And the real value, yes, there is a part of it which is in the system of innovation, in collaboration and so on, but there was a huge part of it in the document management part. So that helped us build in, from one side, the trust from the end users, and from the other side, a belief in the need for change, even if the system was very successful as it was. Because sometimes sometimes the success of a project can come back to you as, oh no, we cannot change it. Which is a problem that I mean, it was something that was becoming apparent when I started talking, okay, we need to change it. People were saying, why, it's going well, you have excellent results and so on. But yeah, so we had to build a strong business case. I have to do it like 4 or 5 times with different committees, which was an interesting process. And so finally we ended up working on the integration of Drupal with Alfresco. And so here we go on the part that probably you are most interested to see. So the integration of Drupal and Alfresco was built with the idea that we want to keep the value of Drupal, which is on the innovation part, so the collaboration and social layer is still provided by Drupal, while the management of files and documents is provided by Alfresco. And at the same time, Alfresco was giving us additional value by providing access to the information inside Alfresco through interfaces that are not just the browser, because I can connect to Alfresco through FTP or WebDAV, which means it's a very, very lightweight connection compared to opening a browser and navigating to a page. So it was meeting all our needs. And so we started working on that. So this is how the system was before. So I'm a user, I can use my browser, I can see inside Drupal oh, I forgot an error. No, it's correct. I can see my Drupal. In Drupal, there are files sitting on the server, on the Drupal server, so that if I want to download a file, I tell Drupal, can you please get it from the server? And all the users come from our LDAP, which is used also for other systems. At the same time, we are using Drupal, because it has this function from one of the modules, to import and bring additional information inside the system. And we didn't want to lose any of this. So what we did, we ended up looking for, well, it was a longer process than to get there. We started with a review of different available solutions. I reviewed 20 of them, ended up choosing Alfresco because, well, I like the open source model because it means that I can have as many users as I want and I can manage them as I want. We have 10,000 staff, so paying per user is going to be painful. So I would not be able to get the money for that. I also liked the capabilities of Alfresco. It's very strong. And I liked especially the fact that Alfresco has APIs and Alfresco is committed to maintaining the APIs all through the different versions. So at the beginning of this process, when I was okay, Alfresco sounds like a good idea, I ended up having a chat with the people at Amnesty International who told me, oh yeah, we developed the integration Drupal Alfresco in 2007. We're still using the same API because all through the different versions, 7 years later, no, it was 2 years ago, 5 years later, the API is still working. And I was okay, that's a nice thing to know, because then it means that my integration effort is going to pay in the long term. So what we did is we ended up putting Alfresco instead of our file server as a document storage. But the user still sees only Drupal when he's using his browser. The only difference is that instead of placing the file on the file server where Drupal sits, the file goes to Alfresco. We actually do more than this. So all content that is created inside Drupal, like an online discussion with comments and so with replies and so on, ends up as an HTML file, which is very lightweight with a stripped down CSS for styling. It's printed inside Alfresco. The way the system works, it's all built about the concept of groups. So each working group, each team, each emergency is a group. And so this group is mirrored inside Alfresco as a single folder. And once you go to that folder, you can see that there is one other folder called discussions, and all the discussions as HTML end up there. And there is one called documents, and all documents end up there, and so on. The reason for this mirroring is that we have people in low bandwidth or poor bandwidth areas, or we have even people that say, okay, there is an emergency, I'm sitting here in Oxford, I need to go there, and I will not have an internet connection, I need to carry the information with me. So using this approach means that if I need to go there and bring all the information I have about a specific topic, I can FTP into the system, download a full folder, and so I have everything in there. I've done one drag and drop action, and that's it. And I've downloaded everything to my laptop, and I can go. On the other hand, if I'm already in the field and I want to find the document, I can instead, if this is too slow for me, I can go through this path, directly go to Alfresco. I will not be able to comment on an existing online discussion. Fair enough. And so this way, we don't lose any of this, and we gain all the value of Alfresco, and we didn't have to touch the Alfresco interface at all. So my end users will never see share because I don't want to spend time training them again. And I like the fact that Drupal is a very, very flexible user interface. So everything from, so all files inside Alfresco are mirrored back into Drupal, so they look like it's entirely inside Drupal. Even the URL looks like inside Drupal. So there is, so I have full control over the user interface through the system that gives me the maximum flexibility in that direction. So this is the way we've done it. And by the way, our system is big. We have about 100,000 pages in the system, which makes the management of information especially complicated, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to stay in Drupal, because in Drupal I can split and reorganize information quite easily. So I can easily create a list of all security policies from a number of different areas, as long as I have one way to categorize them as this is part of the security policies. Then I can put them in a single list. I can give you, again, without any coding, I can give you a downloadable CSV of all the documents and where they are and when they were created and so on. So it's something that yeah, we didn't want to lose into the management of our documents. So going to what it looks like now. Well, here you can see the homepage of a group. Ooh, it's not very readable. But yeah, I mean, the part that is relevant to Alfresco is here. So essentially, we have one tab that is files. So this will take you to a view of all the files inside that group, organized by folders and so on. But then we can also use the Drupal interface to create views of only audio files, only documents, only images, and only video. And since I'm making this custom view where I collect all the documents or all the images coming from all the folders and subfolders, I can use Drupal to generate smarter interface. So like if I'm looking at a list of images only, I can print it out as a slideshow or as a list of thumbnails and so on. If I do it with videos, I can create a video preview that is viewable online. So it's, that's the flexibility we wanted to keep. And this is how it looks like when I'm the homepage of, when I'm looking at my files. I can see folders, I can see different files. Different files have different icons to immediately give you the preview of what it is. We can choose what to display in the columns, and so you can reorganize the lists and so on. And you can immediately create folders straight from here. And this is entirely generated by Drupal, so there is nothing here that needs any additional customization. And you can directly delete or download files straight from this page. So you never need to visit Alfresco through the web browser. It's entirely done through here. This is a view of files collected from multiple folders into a single list of just documents. So I can display just documents. This is a list of what I was saying before. Since these are not just documents, but these are images, I can tell the system, okay, automatically generate a thumbnail and print them here. Oh, I resized the wrongly. So this is a page on how we create documents. So believe it or not, some people struggle with the concept of uploading a document and filling details about it. So we took a bit of, for some people it took a bit of effort to teach them how to do it, so we didn't want to change it at all. So the interface is exactly the same as before. So this is entirely Drupal interface. We are WYSIWYG and whatever. The tagging is done entirely through Drupal. It just, when you click on upload a file, the file that gets uploaded is not sitting on a server, but it goes back to Alfresco. Apart from this, everything exactly as before. And the result when you hit on save is that your document with the description is here. The link looks like a link to something inside Sumus, but it's actually coming from Alfresco. And what we gain is that at the bottom of the page we can also look at past versions, and the link here is to the latest version of the file. So we finally fixed one of the biggest issues for knowledge sharing. And then we allow people to comment on that. We give shortened URLs. You can see it here. People can give stars if they want to. They can have tags, and they can use these tags to navigate information in another additional way. Or some information managers can also decide to categorize items while just looking at the page. They don't have to go and edit. Just click on the button, and this automatically gets categorized in a specific way. So this is the state of the system at the moment. But the idea behind the integration was bigger than just this. So we have a number of projects that we have for the future for this integration, and this is the list of what we have on the plate at the moment. So publishing strategy. So essentially what we are doing now, since we know we can use content from online and print it out into an HTML and then make that HTML downloadable for the end users, we're actually using it as a way to publish policies. So we are now creating global policies with a number of chapters and so on. So we give the teams that are doing these policies essentially a wiki interface inside Drupal. So you create different pages, you organize them through the drag and drop and so on, and then the system takes this architectural information, puts it together as a single document, prints it into an HTML file, which is responsive with design, and then people can then, instead of having a PDF or a Word document where policies are, the policies is an HTML, which is responsive, and through the use of some clever CSS tricks, the policy will tell you if that's the latest version or if it's not the latest version, where is the latest version, or if you're completely offline, it will tell you, I cannot tell you if this is the latest version, but this is where it should be written. So, and this is 90% done. Then it's a part that we haven't looked yet on building workflows, because I want to make this as a service for the end users. I'm not going to bother teaching people how to set up a workflow inside Alfresco. I'd rather create it for them, and I'll tell them how to trigger it. And then we're going to use the system also to automatically categorize content based on the content. So for example, if a document talks about Ebola, then that will automatically be categorized as related to Ebola. So through this, I can enrich my content, and then I can make additional views on where all content about Ebola is. So there may be different groups working at the same time. Through this, I can bring the information together into a new approach. And then the idea, hopefully it will work. The idea is that if I see that a person is posting a lot of content about Ebola, or is reading a lot of content about Ebola, then that person probably knows something about Ebola and how to respond to it. So I can use this information to enrich the profile of the users as they interact with information, and then I can tell, if you're looking for a person who has knowledge about Ebola, try these people. It will not cover everybody, because not everybody will interact with the system in the same way. Like for example, there will be an admin person inside a specific group who has the role of uploading all documents done by that group, which will become as the expert about Ebola, even if maybe that person is just an admin person for the right people. But if you're looking for someone who knows about Ebola, contact that person is not a bad idea, because that person is working with the people who are doing it. And that hopefully will help us also getting through one issue that we're having, which is if I'm looking for someone who is an expert about Ebola in DRC, instead of doing as we're doing now, where a lot of people send an email to the country director of to say, so who in your staff is working on this specific issue, and then the country director is not exactly satisfied about becoming the gate point for the rest of the organization to his member of staff, his or her member of staff. The idea is that then, just go to the right person straight away, and don't bother the country director with your request if it's not needed. Another thing we're going to do is ultra tips, which is, it's nothing terribly sexy. It's simply when you go to a page and you're looking for something, you will have little pop-ups that you can get if you click on it, and it will tell you what that thing is about. So it could be on about our endless number of acronyms. So if you want to know what an acronym stands for, it will tell you straight away. Or it can be about how to use the system. So if I have a tagging interface, it will tell you why it's important to tag, how you can tag, and so on. Another thing we're looking at is integration with walkthroughs. Walkthroughs are, again, another training system, which is, it allows you to record as a JavaScript, as a set of JavaScript actions, your interaction with the system, and then play back. So, for example, if I want to do something like create a new group inside the system, add the specific functionalities inside the system, modify some parts so that the group will be exactly how you want it, I can say, okay, I know that for a team group, I want to have news, I want to have newsletters, and I want to have documents, and all the other functions I don't want to enable them. I can record this and then give it to the end user and say, this is the starting point for creating a collaboration group. You can just keep on clicking next, 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 and it will be done in the default way. But at any point, you can get out of the script and say, I want to also enable multimedia in this group. And so it's just one click, because this will play inside your browser. So it will play for anybody, anywhere, regardless of their device or so on, and it's live. So it's not like I'm watching a video and then I need to remember what the video was doing when I'm doing it in my browser. It's running inside my browser and telling me, if you want to enter a title, this is the box, and you type the box, and so on. So it gives you a far more lively user interface, and it can be used also to simplify the user interface, the user experience, instead of just working on the user interface. We are going to do a lot of work to improve the user interface too. We know we can do better than what we have now, and the idea is that since we're building a new system, 40% of my time now is on designing the new system, because we built this on Drupal 6, so it's a bit old technology. We are now building it with Drupal 7, a complete new system, so it's not an upgrade. We have too much stuff to think about doing an upgrade. So we're building a new system, but we know we can leverage what we've done before into the new system. So, for example, if I build a workflow inside Alfresco and I change the interface to Alfresco through Drupal to a new system built on Drupal 7 instead of Drupal 6, even if I change the front end for the end user, what stays in Alfresco is still in Alfresco, so I don't have to redo it from scratch. And it also means that if I improve the user interface, I can mimic that interface in the new system. And it also means that I can use the APIs built for the initial integration for Alfresco for Drupal 6 into Drupal 7 to reuse it. But then, to be fair, Zaidzi, which is the partner who has done this work from us, have been working on Drupal 7, on the Drupal 7 integration, which seems even better than what we had before. So probably we're going to go in that direction instead of or just reusing what we've been using now. But the idea is that having these two systems, I can work on one end on giving something nice and usable for the end users, and on the other hand on building something long-term value for the organization and the users. And I don't need to lose one if I need to change the other one, and that gives us far more flexibility in how to see the strategy and the future of the system. So yeah, this is what we're doing, and if you have any questions on what we've done, this is more or less what I had to present. So thank you. Yes.
You say you got a lot of images and videos.
Yes.
But all your users go in via FTP or through Drupal.
Yeah.
How do you get your images and videos in there as well, or do you store them somewhere else and then call on them?
Well, if I upload an image, it doesn't matter if it's done through Drupal or Alfresco, it still ends up into Drupal with the ability to create different size versions, depends on where I use it. The same happens for a video. If I upload a video, I don't care if it's done through FTP or through Drupal, it ends up as a file which sits inside Alfresco, but also inside Drupal we have a Flash version that you can watch online. So yeah, so when you access the system through FTP, you will see only the file to download, because a Flash file to download is not terribly helpful. While if I'm online, I don't need to download the big file. I can just watch that was a big thing, because we had people uploading half a gigabyte video, expecting people to watch it online. Yeah, that's and I used to work for Volvision before, and our policy was to tell people, why don't you resize your video and then upload it again? It didn't fly well. Yeah. Yep. So, okay.
The first say that I usually resize the videos for them manually.
Ah, okay, yeah.
I wanted to thank you because I'm from Red Hat.
Yep.
And we are just, I have the same experience as you. I mean, I'm working in a global company with about 7,000 employees all around the world. And exactly the same experience. I can't provide trainings for them.
Yeah.
I don't have budget for this. I do not have people. We are just 3 people working on this project. And so we created a series of walkthroughs
Yep.
for them. They work, I would say perfectly, but there always need to be someone behind who provides like full-time support for our users all around the world.
Yeah.
When they have problems, for example, with those large videos, who can recite them manually, who can help them to fill in all metadata. Another same experience, people do not like to to create any metadata at all. They just want to upload the document or create the document and that's it for them. They are just, that's, you know, that's not their problem. They are just too busy with their work. They do not have time to learn new things. Another thing, we have also a custom UI.
Yeah.
Because we do not want them to learn and share things like that. They got used to the old UI. We are trying to improve it. We are trying to integrate more and more administration tools there so that they can upload documents directly from their browser or from the web app. And that's it. Just wanted to thank you for sharing this experience.
Yeah, well.
Nice to see someone in a similar situation.
Yeah. Well, talking about the resources, we are in a similar situation since I have 10,000 users, about 100,000 pages. I used to have a staff of 3.5 people. Now we're down to 1.5. Okay. So, yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. Which is also the reason why our approach is we provide the system, you take care of the content, because I'm never going to be able to follow 100,000 pages. It's not going to work. And yeah, the auto tagging is because the tagging, people can tag any way they want. They don't. So the idea is not to provide a perfect tagging. It will never happen unless someone with a good knowledge. But even that, once it gets to big number of files, you need to have more than one person tagging them, and 2 people will tag them in a different way. So the value of the tag is going to be lost. The more people tag, the less. It will never. You will never win. So we decided, okay, we're going to look into auto tagging. It won't be perfect, but the idea is that what is good enough, and the real value is not necessarily in finding everything, but in finding enough to know where information is and to know who to contact. And so I don't need to be able to tag everything well. As long as I can get an idea for most things, that's good enough. At least that's a hope. No, I used to work for a company called Autonomy that was doing this kind of stuff, and it was working decently. Huh?
You mean Autotech?
No, Autonomy. It's based in Cambridge.
I'm sorry.
And so I saw it working. The problem with that is that it's a ridiculously expensive technology and very difficult to use. And I think it goes also a bit too far. So it becomes a black box that you don't know what's actually going on. So we are going to go for something a bit more straightforward. Yes?
I think autonomy itself is a bit of a black box. Anyway.
You have no idea.
My colleague used to work on my bench.
Okay, yeah.
Anyway, so can you talk at all about any benefits to the information workers, to the business, if you like? It sounds like a great technical success,
yep.
And you talk about visits and so on, but do you collect any stories or information about how this helped people? Save money, save time, be better at keeping records?
I must confess, I've been told that I was doing too many reports, so I cut down on looking at data. The data I collect is how much is costing me in terms of time, Well, I mean, essentially you have it here. Well, essentially what you're looking at is how many people request training. That's an important one for us. It's very low, we're fine. With how many people are asking for support. We are lowering the number of people are asking for support. That's a good sign. And these for me are the really important ones, because this will tell me how much satisfaction is truly there. We have run surveys for a while, but we stopped doing them because we ran a survey that ended all surveys because because I asked people, because the results of surveys were a bit suspicious. So in that survey, I asked what type of equipment people had, what type of tools have they used in the past or at the moment, and so on. And it turns out that essentially 90% of the people who replied to our survey were power users, so where people are strongly engaged with technology, and that's not my generic user case. So it's a heavily biased response, so it's a waste of time and it annoys people, so why bother?
You don't have any data on, for example, field workers or country directors and how your new intranet has helped them work quicker or resolve problems faster? Or
I mean, we have some good feedback from the end users, but mainly for me, it's how many people are actually using it. Then the specific use case, yeah, it's interesting. It's nice to hear. I'm doing a good job if I see that people are using it more and more often. So, yeah, on that we saw a marked improvement on the number of people who are using it, how often they're using it. And that was due to all the changes in the way we have been working and responding to the people. So, but yeah, we don't collect much at all. It's yep.
Interested when you said that some of your users have to access this through very thin links.
Yep.
Slow banked.
Yeah.
Do you have any kind of experience of testing the different kinds of products to see how bandwidth heavy they are? So maybe comparison. Do you find that Alfresco is better with bandwidth than maybe LifeRay or another interface layer? Do you have experience of whether maybe SharePoint or something else is not so friendly to very thin links?
You use the S word. Well, I do have experience on that. Well, before working for Oxfam, I was working for World Vision, and the global internet was built on SharePoint, which was slow. For people in low bandwidth, they had like a 1 minute page load, which was, I mean, it's not exactly engaging for the end users. The idea behind the integration was that I know I can make Drupal lightweight, and I don't need to bother to know how much lightweight Alfresco can be. The lightweight version comes from WebDAV or FTP, which is the most stripped down view I can give you to the information, which is the reason why we ended up for the full mirroring of Drupal into Alfresco, because through that I can get really everything I have in the cheapest way in terms of bandwidth.
Do you know why the S word, why it's so heavy? It is actually relevant to it.
It has massive CSS files and JavaScript files that you cannot touch unless it nulls the guarantee, which is a nice thing to know. And so you cannot really get around that. So yeah, you have lockdown to having a heavy interface, and you can build on top of it to make it a more user-friendly interface, but that's not going to make it any easier for people in low bandwidth. And the mobile version of SharePoint, which is more lightweight, is sincerely dreadful, and it was missing some functionalities. So
When you were using, when you selected Drupal as a layer roof of
Yeah.
Alfresco, did you consider access from a range of devices, including non-luxury endpoints, very cheap? Is that a consideration?
Well, we already have Drupal, and then we added Alfresco behind. And the reason why I want to look into the improvements to the user interface is because when Drupal was set up, they didn't make it responsive. So actually, the policies that we are now printing is the first bit of responsiveness that we have inside the system. The idea is that I want to use the fact that Drupal is modular also on the user interface, and I want to develop a new theme that will be responsive, and then I will switch one off and switch the other on, so that suddenly Drupal becomes fully responsive, and that's it. So yeah, it's what we want to do is just I have no budget. And very limited resources, so yeah, it takes time to get this stuff done. Any other questions, or have I taken you away from your?
I think, we're at the end of the time. You're missing your break, so
Yeah. Okay.
please, to that question.
And thanks.